Yo, it's your boy Jay Salt, and this is the very first edition of Salt's Sport Picks. Today is Thursday, September 29th. I'm gonna quickly run down the MLB games for today, give you some quick stats, some quick analysis, and what I think the best pick for that game is. And since it is Thursday night football tonight, also we'll go over the Bengals Dolphins game real quick. I don't have a play for the Utah State and BYU game tonight, so I'm just gonna leave that one off. But let's go ahead and get started. You see, I got the Sandlot tee on today, so I can give you all these fire MLB picks. We're gonna start out with some of these early games. Starting at 110, we got the Chicago White Sox versus the Minnesota Twins. They both come in with a 76 and 79 record. Away, the White Sox are 41 and 36 this year. The Twins are 46 and 34 at home. In their last 10 games, the White Sox are 2 and 8. The Twins are 4 and 6. I took the over 7.5 runs in this game. I think the total is pretty low. We got Lucas Giolito and Louis Varland battling it out on the mound today. During the daytime, in their day games, both of them come in with over a 5 ERA, 5.25 for Giolito, 5.23 for Varland. Over the last 10 games, White Sox have a 4.79 ERA, Twins with a 4.81 ERA. Against righties, righties are hitting an OPS of .958 against Giolito, and righties are hitting a .979 OPS against Varland. I got to take the over. 7.5 is way too low. So I'm going to go with the over 7.5 in that White Sox and Twins game. Next game up at 110 is Kansas City Royals versus the Detroit Lions. The Royals come in with a very poor 63 and 92 record. The Tigers aren't any better at 62 and 92. Away, the Royals are 24 and 50 this year. At home, the Tigers are a little bit better, 33 and 45. In their last 10 games, both teams are actually playing a little better than normal. 6 and 4 for the Royals, 7 and 3 for the Tigers. I like Kansas City plus 1.5 in this game. Just to start out, I don't believe the Tigers should ever be a favorite. You should never bet the Tigers as a favorite. In very rare instances, this is not one of them. John Heasley is on the mound today for the Royals, a fellow Jonathan. He comes in with an away ERA of 3.88. Eduardo Rodriguez, the lefty for the Tigers, comes in with a home ERA of 4.43. So the Royals have a slight pitching matchup here. John Heasley has actually been pitching well as of late. Eduardo Rodriguez is actually on a bit of a decline as of late. Both these teams are 3 and 7 respectively, home and away. Tigers are 3 and 7 in their last 10 home games, so they're not playing that well at home. The Royals are hitting incredible over the past 10 games, .827 OPS, so they're hitting out the park, and you can never trust the Tigers to hit well. They're hitting .676 over their past 10 games, so add that in with the fact that against lefties, the Royals hit .256, just a batting average. I'm going to go ahead and take the Royals plus 1.5 or the money line. I think that's the play there. Next up, we got Baltimore Orioles versus the Boston Red Sox. Baltimore comes in with an 80 and 75 record. Boston comes in with a 74 and 81 record. The Orioles are 36 and 41 on the road. Boston's 39 and 38 at home. In their last 10 games, both teams are 4 and 6. So both struggling a little bit. In this game, I can't pick a side with Bauman on the mound for the Orioles and Eovaldi on the mound for the Red Sox. Both come in with high ERAs. On the road, Bauman's pitching 5.4 ERA. Eovaldi's pitching 6.26 ERA at home. The last 10 games, both of these teams are over a 5 ERA, 5.10 for the Orioles, 5.36 for the Red Sox. Both teams are hitting amazingly well. In their last 3 games, the Orioles have a 1.106 OPS, the Red Sox .951. So I can't pick a side. Neither team is pitching well. Both teams are hitting well. In the first 2 games of the series, they put up big numbers. Last night, it was a low-scoring game, 3-1. But I think they come back out and start hitting again. I'm gonna take the over. I don't like it, but I'm gonna take the over 8.5 runs in this game. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Phillies, the Fighting Phils versus those Cubbies. The Phillies come in with a record of 83 and 71. The Cubs come in with a record of 69 and 86. But in the last 10 games, these teams have been on opposite ends of the spectrum. Philly is 3 and 7. The Cubs are 7 and 3. Over the past 10 games, the Cubs are pitching at a tune of a 2.76 ERA. And at home, over their last 6 games, 2.5 ERA, but they're not hitting well. 6.04 OPS over their last 10, and 6.63 OPS at home over their last 6. And the Phillies aren't hitting much better either. Over their last 3 games, they're hitting 6.63, and I don't expect that to get too much better against Javier Assad today, the righty, who is not pitching the best this year, but he pitches decent against righties. And even though the Phillies have a couple of good lefties in their squad, I like him to pitch pretty decent. So I'm leaning towards the under 8 runs in this game. And I'm also leaning Phillies, though, to win because Ranger Suarez has just been killing it as of late. 2.77 ERA during the day and 2.67 ERA on the road. So leaning Phillies, leaning under. Don't love either, but those are the plays I have for that game. Next up, going into the evening games, we got Tampa Bay Rays versus the Cleveland Guardians. Tampa Bay comes in with an 85 and 70 record. Cleveland slightly better, 87 and 68 record. Over the last 10 games, the Rays are 4 and 6. Cleveland's 8 and 2. On the road over this year, Tampa Bay's 34 and 40, so they're definitely a better home team than a road team. And the Cleveland Guardians are 41 and 33, so they're tough to beat at home. We got Jeffrey Springs versus Cal Quantrill on the mound today. Quantrill is a perfect 8 and 0 at home, 3.06 ERA at night, 3.46 ERA at home. Jeffrey Springs, though, is a dog. He's for the Rays. He's 5 and 2 away, 2.87 ERA at night, 2.88 ERA away. But he has struggled a bit over his past couple of games. And over the last 10 games, the Rays are sporting a 4 ERA and a 4.53 ERA on the road over their last 6 games, while the Guardians have a 2.65 ERA over the past 10 games and a 2.29 ERA at home over the past 6 games. So with all that being said, I'm going to have to go with the under on this game. I love the under 6.5 runs, and I lean towards the Guardians as well because the Rays are only hitting .638 OPS over the last 10 games, and the Guardians are hitting .728. So I'm gonna lean both the Guardians and the under. I love the under. I lean Guardians for the money line play. Miami Marlins versus the Milwaukee Brewers. The Marlins come in with a record of 64 and 91. The Brewers have a record of 83 and 72 this year. At home, Brewers are great, 43 and 31. On the road, the Marlins are not, 32 and 45. However, in their last 10 games, they're both 5 and 5. And in their last 10 away, the Marlins are 3 and 7. Their last 10 at home, the Brewers are 6 and 4. But I came to a pick of Marlins plus 1.5 for today, and here's why. Eric Lauer on the mound for the Brewers, while he is 5-2 at home, and he does have a 2.98 ERA during at night, and a 3.05 ERA. Sorry, 3.05 ERA at night and a 2.98 ERA at home. Braxton Garrett is sneaky good for the Marlins, and the Marlins as a unit are just pitching better than the Brewers. Over their last 10, they're pitching at 3.12 ERA, while the Brewers are pitching 3.84. Their ERA on the road is a 4, while the ERA at home for the Brewers over the last 6 is a 5.17. And the Marlins are hitting better recently. Over the last 3 games, 706 OPS to the Brewers' 629 OPS. So I'm going to have to just go with that extra run. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. And I think that Miami can maybe win this one like 3-2 or lose it 2-3. So I'm going to go with Miami plus 1.5. I don't love it, but that's the play for that one. Next up, we got the Oakland A's versus the Los Angeles Angels. Oakland, terrible, 56-99 on the year. Angels, 69-86 on the year, a little bit better, and they've been playing better as of late. Angels 6-4 in their last 10. The A's 4-6 in their last 10. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I like the Angels minus 1.5 tonight. We got Ohtani on the mound, 6-4 at home, 2 ERA in his home starts, 2.43 ERA in his night starts. The righties and lefties are struggling against him. Cole Irvin, he comes in with decent numbers. Like righties and lefties don't hit that great against him, but he has a 5.17 ERA on the road and a 4.68 ERA at night. The A's have a 6 ERA their last 10 games, a 7.56 ERA their last 3 games, while in their last 3 games, the Angels have a 2 ERA and a 3.72 ERA in their last 10, and they're hitting .849, the Angels are, in their last 3, while the A's are hitting .601. So everything's just pointing to the Angels on the run line, minus 1.5. Cole Irvin hasn't been pitching well as of late. I like the Angels to get all over him tonight. Next game up, Dodgers and the Padres. I'm a lean Dodgers. I can't really give a pick now because the Padres haven't announced the starter yet, but I'm already just going to lean Dodgers. If you just pick the Dodgers every day, you have a good chance of winning. But I lean Dodgers money line today at the value. Next up, Texas Rangers versus the Seattle Mariners. Texas Rangers come in 66-88. Seattle Mariners come in 84-70. In their last 10, both are not playing that well. 3-7 for the Rangers, 4-6 for Seattle. My play is going to be the Rangers on the money line. John Gray versus Marco Gonzalez. John Gray has been pitching very well as of late. He's got a 3.86 ERA on the road and a 3.72 ERA at night. Righties are hitting .562 OPS against him, while righties are hitting .761 against Marco Gonzalez and .835. Lefties are hitting .835 against Marco Gonzalez. So I like Marco Gonzalez to get smacked around tonight. The Mariners' ERA in their last 3 games is 6.58, and their OPS is 6.44. So they're not pitching very well. They're not hitting very well. I'm going to go ahead and just take the Rangers on the money line or plus 1.5. But I think the value on the money line is great. And then last but not least, we got the Rockies versus the Giants. Rockies come in 65-90 on the year. San Francisco Giants trying to get to 500. They're 77-78. They play well at home to the Giants, 41-36, and the Rockies play poorly on the road, 24-50. In their last 10 games, Rockies 2-8, Giants, last 10 games, 8-2. Last 3 games, ERA for the Rockies, 9. Last 3 games, ERA for the Giants, 3.12. OPS in the last 3 games for the Rockies, .625. Last 3 games for the Giants, OPS .813. I'm going to make this short and sweet. I like the Giants -1.5. We got Carlos Rodon on the line. He's 7-2 at home, 2.08 ERA at home, 3.69 at night. Feltner is 5.86 ERA on the road for the Rockies, 5.08 ERA away. So, yeah, Giants -1.5. That's my play. That's my play for all those MLB games, and I'll run through those again really quickly. I had the over 7.5 for the White Sox and Twins. I had Kansas City Royals +1.5. I had the over in the Baltimore Orioles and Boston Red Sox game. I had the under in the Philly and the Cubs game, and I do lean to Philly as well. I love the under for the Tampa Bay Cleveland game. I'm leaning Cleveland as well in that game. I like Miami Marlins +1.5 against the Brewers. I like the Angels to smack the A's tonight -1.5. I like the Rangers to win against the Mariners tonight, and I also like the Giants -1.5. And to briefly talk about the NFL game tonight, Dolphins versus the Bengals. I think the Bengals win straight up on the money line. Their defense, I think, will slow down Tua, and also the run game. I think they'll play well against the run and pass on defense and have enough offense to give the Miami defense some trouble. So take that Bengals money line. I think it's been climbing all day. It's like at -180 right now. So jump on that as soon as you can. But that's it. I appreciate y'all, man. Subscribe, man. I'm trying to get my subscribers up so I can give you all these fire plays and we can get this money together. This your boy Jay Salt. This was the first edition of Salt Sport Picks, and I'm out.